beginnings, something like that. Made good, looking to stay there. We've decided that Whiskey Papa 1 has a grandfather-type relationship to Whiskey Papa 2, who sometimes responds for him. She sounds like a much younger female version. Hard to place her age, but from her voice, she sounds like she might be in her 20s. One of the fast-track kids who couldn't get out here quick enough. Puts her hands up in meetings and remembers the name of every militia commander in the area. Good student. X-Ray Hotel 2 is the nerdy best friend to Alpha Male. He's got a slightly strained voice, the kind of guy who'd water the plants for you. Quite fanciable if understated is your thing. For the purposes of radio drama, we're casting him as the underdog. Now his big moment is yet to come. More obvious is Zulu Tango 1, Alpha Male, responding for no one but himself. Finishing the night like the last scene in an action film, roll back to the 7 o'clock sunset and watch him walk it home. I decide that Zulu Tango 1 has some kind of danger lust thing going on with Echo Hotel 2. They might have some kind of professional relationship, the kind where they loathe each other but end up in bed together once in a while. They never talk personal. I meet most of the people behind the call signs at the weekly security briefings and discover, of course, that our little evening plays are pure bullshit, but it's that or the World Service, which is too much reality for anyone right now. Gulf Base wishes us all a good night and signs out. Patrice sings the outro theme. I turn back to my laptop and the plans for the panic room. I scan through the supplier contracts and compose an invitation to the security heads at the smaller NGOs, the ones below us on the phone tree. Rick wants them all briefed on our new protocol and made aware that we'll soon have a room for our female staff, and maybe theirs too, if they're close enough when Armageddon strikes. Work begets work, and it's midnight when I look up. So on the way to bed, I collect the security log from the main guard and I sign it off. Today's entry. There was no incidents today. We need more matches and sugar. Patrice and I head out early the next day to catch a ride with the UN helicopter that's heading into the main camp. The roads are out right now, too hot, so we're confined to visits wherever they've got spare seats. At the airport, a large man with purple skin is reeling off instructions to the controller in the main trailer. It's Whiskey Papa 1, I'm sure of it. Who else has a voice like that? Patrice and I giggle like kids as we sit on the waiting bench, and eventually Whiskey Papa leaves and we can speak again in normal voices. We are herded onto the chopper and strapped in, ear defenders on. Patrice points out the window and mouths at me. And I stick 2 fingers up. Today is my birthday. And for an hour and a half, it is filled with red rock and the carcasses of ancient volcanoes. I watch our dragonfly shadow as it crawls across the land. We fly low and we see no one, no villages, no burning. Just umber earth and a rich blue sky that deepens with the day. We arrive in the camp and make it to the field office with a trail of kids behind us shouting "Hawaji, Hawaji" like a pantomime mob. After training sessions and meetings, a visit to the police station in preparation for the distribution tomorrow, there are no kids on the paths. 9 hours have gone by, and now, after a half-hour-long explosion of gunfire and revving engines, the camp is deathly quiet. We are inside our compound, along with most of the national staff and all of the internationals. The office manager has read out the supply inventory and busied the cook and the cleaner who'd been on duty since before we went into lockdown. The compound is now covered in sleeping mats and pools of lamplight, huddles of low conversation and the crackle of each of our handsets. We're on radio silence. The fighting started in the market, as it always does, but this time it didn't die down. It spread out towards the school and then one of the water stations. We locked and reinforced the gates when the convoy of trucks raced in from behind the mountain, and since then 2 government bombers have flown over, low, but dropping nothing for now. The blaze lights up the sky to the south as the center of the camp burns. The oldest of the guards prays near the gate. We split into shifts. Patrice and I both stay out in the yard while some of the others go inside to attempt sleep. We sit in silence for a long time, lit from below by the faint glow of a kerosene lamp. All I can think about is that panic room. What a load of crap. A concrete room with one way out. When we get back, I'm putting it to Rick that his paranoid sense of logic is not only a waste of time and resources, it's also a potential death trap. I mean, if it comes to it, I would rather be out in the yard in a hail of bullets than sitting inside a little oven waiting to be cooked. He told me, well, we know that women are at particular risk for particular torture, sexual assault in these attack and kidnap scenarios. And now I want to rewind back to that moment and shout at him, I fucking know that. Every woman here knows that. Every single woman in this camp. Look in their eyes. So the walls go higher and the rich folk decorate with razor wire and talk like people are gold bracelets. Lock them up. Protect them. But I'm not one of the local women, surviving on tenacity and luck on the wrong side of a compound wall. I'm an international, a sad single girl with no reason to stay home. Not like him and Patrice and every other guy around here, all with their wives and girlfriends ready to meet them at the airport, dewy-eyed while their men play hero. Why didn't I say anything? I feel like an idiot to hold my tongue on things like this. Another round of shooting flares up, east of here this time, and my heart rate increases. It stops after a minute, and we are once again wrapped in silence. Eventually, Patrice speaks. Who would you do? You've got to be fucking kidding me. Fuck you, Patrice, I say. That's not funny. He laughs and shakes his head. No, not like that. I mean, kill. Who would you kill if you could have one at any time in history? One person. I say nothing, I just stare at him. Another burst of gunfire from the east, shouting, an engine screams. He waits for it to settle down again and then he goes on. Starts saying about how he never knows who to pick because at the end of each choice there's too many branches. There's too many kids born or not born, too many paths that wouldn't cross, the introduction that was supposed to happen at somebody else's wedding and then doesn't. Then there's the big targets, the ones who are remembered generations later for the awful things they did or the good things they didn't. A lot of people pick them, he says. Now actually, on my last job, I worked with a guy who claimed to have gone to school with Saddam Hussein. Says they were at Baghdad University at the same time in different faculties. Says he was just the fat and mediocre son of a powerful family who'd bought him a civil engineering degree, killing time while he worked his way up. That would be his one. Also his biggest regret, because he thought of it at the time but didn't have the courage. He stops talking, and I say nothing. How many bodies will be out there come morning? I push it back, try to make my mind go blank. Each time I look up, the sky seems more orange. It's too quiet. I can't hear any people. Have they fled again? How many times can a person flee? For how long? I don't wait for Patrice to start up again. I find my way to the latrine and I lock myself in. I feel sick. I want to empty myself completely. Start again, this time more focused. I'm good at this, so I get told at the end of every mission. Good at keeping the distance, not getting too emotional. I snap those comments up like biscuits and gobble them down. After each debrief, I scan through my head and hit erase on every ugly scene, and the amazing thing is that none of it ever comes back. No seeping, no nightmares and anxiety attacks and months in therapy. I just want to go out again. The sooner the better. I pull down my pants and crouch down in the dark of the outhouse, dig my nails into the wooden door, body like a clenched fist. Clean. I think about that panic room. And as I do, I will the uranium seam in me to make an escape right now and fall into the earth.
Hi. very much, Michelle. Nice one, thank you. I didn't feel I could speak until I was sat down. It's like I live in the Buddhist centre, and sometimes there's things where you're not allowed to talk unless you're holding the stick. I feel that's what tonight's like. You can only talk if you're sat on the talking chair. And speaking of talking, someone who's got lots to say.
Story. Perfect silver sphere. I prefer jumble sales. Curious, oddball fears. The smell of soil sown in the scrap. Little, staggering hatreds. The horsefly of the eccentric. The broken bits fixed. The broken bits broken. The dark corners and under the table. The love so hard it hurts. The love too little. The little that tells the story. Thank you. Right, this is about Market Street and the sort of regular buskers on Market Street. And there's been an addition this year to the buskers, and that's the guy who plays the flute with the legs that people can't cope with. Yeah. And he actually lives around, like, possibly on our streets, where he gets like our bus and stuff. And yeah, and he's bonkers, and he, in a nice way, you know. But yeah, he's actually got a wheelchair and stuff now. He's sort of getting himself sorted out. But I like that he still does the busking on the skateboard, like, and that's, yeah, well, I fucking know, you get more money, you know. But yeah, so this is very affectionately called Crazy Legs. A bag lady with several bags for life stands still outside going places. The Jesus rappers fall in tune with the lass who wonders, why doesn't everyone wear sequin shoes? They changed her life. Hats with koala, monkey, tiger, chicken ears attached, while Crazy Legs plays a haunting tune. Everyone's new earworm we can't quite believe. The living statues fidget. I once saw one text and the Birdman squeals. The Asian brass bands are alive. Makes mothers jig. One holds up her dog to see them. They could be a film, or a novel, or a play, or something brilliant. Or someone's life. Thank you. When I came to Manchester, my dad had just died, and I dealt with that by absolutely ignoring it in every way, which turns out isn't that healthy. I've only just found out. But the one thing I did do, without really realising I was doing it, was start collecting kind of substitute fathers. And Gerry was one, and Steve Lyons, if you know Steve Lyons, was one. And I've got a few others that you won't know. And they're kind of, you know, they're all like gay, straight, black, white, like a sort of Benetton advert of dads. If you'd sourced the models for a Benetton advert from really rough council estates and psychiatric wards. But yeah, so that. But they have got like one thing. They've all got one thing in common, and that's that they'll all share their drugs with you. But this is called Lost, and this is an experiment. Let's see if I can do it. He told the stories. We'll have a go.
Go on.
He told the stories in primary colours. Because I was young and they were long ago. His hands ground in dirt filled the gaps when he didn't know the word.